Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film Enter the Void, which is the new film from Gaspar Noé. If you've seen the trailer for Enter the Void or heard any of the buzz, it's supposed to be this really trippy, crazy, kind of visually sensating movie. And the trailer, has lots of flashing lights, like and it kind of plays up that whole angle. And the beginning of the film really does, and is really cool. And then that's over. There are parts that get close to that, but really it's this kind of real-time thing. And what happens is there's this guy and he has a very close relationship with his sister, and they live in Tokyo, and he's a drug dealer, and she's like a stripper. He dies in a drug bust, and then his soul goes up and sees everything that's going on, and that's all in real time. So if you really fucking hate real time, I wouldn't see this movie. I frankly have had enough of real time because I live in real time most of the time, so I don't need to see what it's like in real time. I know all the time what it's like to live in real time. It didn't always do that, but I felt like it did it a little too much. Most of the stuff is just a little excessive, and it's not as complex as I think it wants to be, but it's definitely something that I'm glad I went and saw just to mess with my cinematic palette for a little bit. If you feel like you see the same crap over and over again, and if you feel like that, it might be cool just to see this. I don't think it's great or anything, or like a masterpiece or visually crazy, because there's parts of it that are really visually dull, and then there are parts that are really great, which is a really uneven mix. The opening credits are probably one of my favorite opening credits I've seen all year. Probably one of my favorite opening credits ever. It actually reminded me of the work of Marv Newland. Probably my favorite parts are at the beginning. As it goes on with this whole reincarnation, blah 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 bullshit, it's hitting your senses, and it's really overwhelming experience, and there's all this sensory stuff going on, and it's disturbing and creepy, and the sexuality in it, particularly between him and his sister, which they never get into, and part of me really doesn't want to know. So much of these ideas flowing around. It was an interesting experience. I don't know if I'd say it's a good film. It's an experience. That doesn't mean it's good or bad, it's an experience. It maybe would play better in a museum. Some of the imagery, I get that he wants to show all this kind of creepier stuff. It just was excessive, and to the point where I was like, what are we even doing? It was great seeing someone get an abortion. The idea, it follows the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which they pretty much tell you, so you don't need to think about it. He's reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and they talk about the Tibetan Book of the Dead. That whole idea he's levitating over and looking at everything below him, it gets kind of old after a while. I respect that they make films like this. I felt like I got duped into this movie on false pretenses. I don't know if I would have seen it or not if I really knew what I was gonna see. I'm kind of glad I did. The whole idea reminded me of Heaven Can Wait, the Lubitsch film, not the Warren Beatty, because he sees his life from the beginning really quickly till how he died, and that reminded me a lot of Heaven Can Wait. If this film had a really strong editor, it could have really been something undeniable. If it had just been a lot shorter. Don't make a trailer that acts like your Speed Racer when you're this Antonioni thing. Catfish is one thing. This I feel like is a lot worse than what Catfish is doing. You go in and be like, whoa dude, it's gonna be awesome, and you're like, what? There's a good film in here. If you want to see this film and you kind of want to have an interesting cinematic experience, I definitely say see this, actually. It's absolutely not for everyone. It's very art movie, sometimes in a great way and sometimes not. It's just a little uneven and not cohesive enough for me to recommend. It's definitely one of the most interesting film going experiences I've had of the whole year. Take what you want from that. This is something that's far more interesting than the actual film itself. If you have seen Enter the Void and you would like to talk about it, then comment below where the comments are, and subscribe if you would like to. It's kind of overwhelming.